Hi, I'm Paul. You might remember me from the Great British Bake Off in 2015 where I was a quarter finalist. Obviously I had a good time on the Bake Off and my favourite week was bread week. If you can recall, I did the bread line made entirely out of bread, which was edible, and Paul Hollywood actually gave me accommodation for it. In fact, the only accommodation that was in the whole of the Great British Bake Off series. Right, what I'd like to do is introduce you to Fred. Say hello to everyone, Fred. What I'd like to do is ask for your comments and your questions this evening. Anything on bread, anything on bread making, or anything on Bake Off. Just use the interactions on the like, or put your comments and upload them now. Obviously, what me and Fred are here for tonight is to talk about bread and how easy it is to do. Not only that, it's Real Bread Week this week. And obviously, what we're here to talk about mainly is the launch of the new Homepride strong white bread flour. It comes in its own versatile caddy. It's resealable. It's pre-sieved, which makes it very easy. It's unbleached, and it's 100% British wheat. Easy to store away and doesn't make a mess. Obviously, what else we'd like to talk about this evening is the competition we're launching because of the strong white bread flour. It's a competition. We're going to be giving away some fantastic prizes. You see behind me now, we've got some dual-lit toasters. We've got a fantastic bundle of Homepride goodies, and of course we've got the fantastic Emma Bridgewater special edition mug with my mug of tea in it right now. So what do you have to do? Simple. All you've got to do is bake. Bake bread using the Homepride strong white bread flour. Take those pictures and upload them to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but don't forget to use the hashtag FredBread right there. The competition's open straight after this live Facebook, and it's on until the 29th of May. And at that point I'll be judging all your entries, so I want to see some fantastic bakes. Be creative with your chance to win some of these prizes. Do you believe you've got any questions at the moment?
Yes, we have. Tracy said hi.
Hi Tracy.
And she asked, what's your favourite bread recipe?
My favourite bread recipe? I think the one I do the most, Tracy, is just a normal white bloomer. It's nice on a Sunday morning. You can make a nice bacon sandwich, sausage sandwich with it. But obviously I like to do a bit more creative bakes and have them filled either with figs or dates. It all depends what mood I'm in.
Lovely. Claire asks, hi Paul, when making bread, how long do you have to knead the dough before it's ready? And, sub-question, what was your favourite part of being on the Great British Bake Off?
Right. Well, hi Claire for first. Right. If you're going to do bread with a bread machine, 5 to 10 minutes with a dough hook on. Obviously, the best way to do it is get your hands in there. Get your hands, do it for the same amount of time, depending on how much kneading, how much effort you put in there. I would do no less than 5 minutes, but obviously no more than 10. And the second question, I believe, was, what was my favourite
part of the Bake Off?
Favourite part of the Bake Off. Favourite part of the Bake Off. Like I said earlier, I really enjoyed Bread Week. It was fantastic. I got the commendation and I got the first handshake from Paul in the beginning for the soda bread, the quick bread. But I think really all of it was fantastic. It was very stressful but very enjoyable at the same time.
Maria's asked, is bread maker bread turned out better than hand? So,
Maria, bread maker bread turned out better with hand. I like to do it with hand. Obviously you can use a machine. If it's a wet dough, for instance, you could be doing a brioche. If you're doing a brioche, it's very sticky, it's very messy with the hands. You're better off using a bread mixing machine, using the dough hook. Get that again, obviously pop it in the fridge overnight, and then it's ready to use the next day when it's firmed up because of the high butter content inside. But either way, bread machine or hand, it's how you do it, what ingredients you use, how you cook it and prove it.
Lisa's asked, which do you prefer, fresh or dried yeast?
Fresh yeast is more readily available. You can get the one that reacts with water. You can get the sachets now, the 7-gram sachets. They're the fast-acting yeast. They're more easy to use. They're very versatile to throw them in. If you can get fresh yeast, and you can get it from most supermarkets, it comes in little small cubes. You just got to remember to use probably twice, maybe 3 times you would for fast-acting yeast. If I can get hold of it, fresh yeast for every time.
Jennifer's asked, can you freeze bread dough, and if so, at what part of the process?
Okay, hello Jennifer. Freeze bread dough. I wouldn't freeze it straight from the offset in the dough, obviously, because it's got yeast in it. Now that changes when it comes to pizza, because if it's pizza it doesn't need a second proof, so you can actually freeze it once you've done it. Obviously it's nicer to put your ingredients on there, or not put your ingredients on, put it into the freezer. I wouldn't keep it in the freezer for more than a month. Pop it back out, put whatever you're going to put on top, and then bake it. If you're going to make a loaf or a baguette or a ball, then simply you can part bake it first, freeze it up for up to a month, take it out and continue the rest of the process baking it. If it's going to be full baked, then take it out, bake it at its original temperature, probably 200, 220 for a further sort of 10 to 15 minutes to warm it through. But I would defrost them first.
Tracy has come back and asked if is it better to use sugar in a crust?
Sugar in a crust. Sugar will obviously give you that golden texture, the golden colour that you can see on most breads that are quite sweet. You can use an egg wash, you can use water, depends which one you're using and what are the ingredients in the bread at the time.
Chris has asked, is there any difference between baking plain white bread and granary bread?
Difference between plain white bread and granary bread, you're going to need a little bit more water around it. It's going to soak that up a little bit more. Obviously it's going to be quite dense. It's not going to be obviously as nice and firm as white dough, but it's more of a balance with the water on that one.
Tracy's asked, what's the most difficult bread recipe you've ever experienced so far?
Difficult bread, right? That's got to be the king of breads, which is the sourdough. The sourdough is a very long proof, and it starts off with either fermentation or a starter, and that's where you mix the flour and the water together. You nurture that over 2 or 3 days, and you feed it, and you've got to continue to feed it to keep using it, and that's every sort of 3 to 4 days. Then the actual, once you're making the bread, is a long kneading process. The wetter the better. It's the hydration in there. The more liquid, the better the dough, and it takes a long time to do, but then you're looking at 16 to 18 hours proving time, but the end result is fantastic if you get it right.
Maria's asked about the Homepride flour next to you on the table. Is this new?
This Homepride flour is new. It's available at the moment in Morrison's and Ocado. Like I've described it, it's very versatile. It comes pre-sieved, it's unbleached, it comes in its nice little caddy which keeps it fresh, easy to store. It's a fantastic product.
Hayley's asked, what's your favourite thing to bake?
My favourite thing to bake? Well, I like baking bread, as you know. I do like doing cakes. Sweet or savoury man, I'm more savoury than I am sweet. I like to do a good cake that's elaborately decorated, but also like to do a creative bread, whether it's a braid or a wreath with the extra filling.
Marsh has asked, hi, can you make a bread without using yeast?
Hi Marsh, yes you can. It's called a quick bread. Now a quick bread uses either an alkaline and an acid, so you're either using buttermilk or yogurt, and then you combine that with either a bicarb soda or a baking powder. The two, when they come together, react. You get that reaction explosion, and that's what creates the actual rise in there. There's no kneading to be done. Mix the ingredients, very little kneading. Rest for 10 to 15 minutes before you put in the oven, and then you'll get a fantastic bake at the end.
Claire Whittaker says hi.
Okay.
Christina asks, how can I get my baguettes nice and crusty?
Baguettes nice and crusty. The key to this is temperature. You're doing baguettes, it's a French bread. There's only salt, water and yeast in there. The idea is once it's ready to go into the oven, it's the second fermentation, second proving, ready to go into the oven, you need to have the temperature on about 230, 240, and that oven needs to have been on a good hour before so that the temperature builds up nicely. You pop it into the oven, you put a baking tray in the bottom, obviously be careful with especially with a fan oven, and just pour a pint of water in the bottom of there, and as you put the baguette in, give a couple of sprays of water. That will create the steam and give you that natural crust on top.
Lucy's asked, what is the quickest bread to make?
Quickest bread to make, Lucy? That's got to be, like I said earlier, the quick bread. You can have a quick bread from mix to partial knead to actually on the plate within 45 minutes.
Tracy's asked, how do you stop dough sticking to the worktop?
There's two ways of stopping dough sticking to the worktop. It's either flour or it's oil. I like to use oil. initially I would use nothing. I'd get out onto the work surface, knead it. Once you start knead it, then gluten strands come together, you'll see it start coming away from the surface. Obviously the more flour you use, you're adding on addition to the ingredients that you first put in, and that goes the same for all. So I'd initially knead for the first 5 minutes, it'll start coming together, and then for that final bit, just use a little bit there just to bring it all together.
Maria has requested a wave from Fred. Robin's asked, how do we make a light continental bread?
A light continental bread. Now, this goes back to the French type bread I think he's referring to here, which could be a baguette, it could be a boule. I think the better hydration, which means more water than you would a normal one, which means a wet knead, will give you a better crumb texture inside and a lighter texture. It's very difficult first kneading it because it is very sticky, very messy. Once you get that technique, you'll start to see the gluten strands come together, it'll bring it away, add a little bit of flour, nice little resting time, and that should give you a nice light crumb texture inside.
That's it for now?
That's it for now, thank you very much. Okay, let's say goodbye to Fred. You want to wave, Fred? Right, obviously, I mentioned the competition earlier to do some bakes. Now I've been doing some baking myself. And what I've actually done is I've come up with my own little mini Freds. These are mini Fred bread rolls. They're made of a white sweet dough and also a chocolate dough to obviously represent the head of Fred with a face on there. Now obviously, if you go onto the website of the Homepride website, all the instructions are on there, the ingredients are on there. I've actually got some here I've done. I've actually got a stage that I'm going to show you now. It's too long to do it all. But I think the most difficult part is how do you get that hat and the actual definition between the head and obviously the top. So what I've got here now is obviously you've rolled your balls of white flour. There's obviously the sweetener, they've got sugar in there. Now I filled mine with a chocolate spread. Any chocolate spread would do. You could use jam, you could use a creme patisserie, you could even use cream. Or if you just want to put a few little chocolate drops inside, which is not so messy, it's easy to do. Seal them up, just tighten it at the back there and roll them into the ball. What you'll have then is the chocolate bread. Now this is how you form the hat. Now everyone's got a normal dinner plate at home, so it's a normal 10-inch dinner plate. So you roll your chocolate bread out into a 10-inch circle, and then all you're doing is taking a sort of a 4 inch diameter in the middle. You don't need that, so you're just taking that piece out. Obviously take the outer piece the way that you don't want. Leaves you a bit like a large sort of polo shape. Now what you're going to do now is going to take your rolled balls, and you're going to have where it's rolled and the seam is, that's going to be on the top, and you're going to put one at 12 o'clock, and it's half on, half off the dough, the chocolate dough. One again at 3 o'clock, one again at 6 o'clock, one again at 9 o'clock. You're then going to pop the remaining 4 in between the gaps, evenly spaced. Like I said, half on, half off. What you're going to do then, either with a knife or a pizza cutter like I've got here now, is you're just going to cut in between from the outside in, evenly into the centre, all the way round. Giving you the 8 individual portions. What you're going to do now is take from the centre and bring that piece up, gently push it in. Don't push down too hard because you've got a filling in there. The last thing you want it to do is to seep out. So just gently push down so it stays. Then all you would do is turn it over. Oops, can lose that. Turn that over, grab the 2 sides, stretch it slightly, try not to rip it, and then bring it under and tuck it round. As you can see there, it gives you the hat shape of Fred. What you're going to do now is just gently with your fingers, is just curl up the edge where the rim is. You can get 2 curls out of it, that'll be good. And that leaves you with the Fred. You're going to place that down then obviously onto a baking sheet. I'll just show you one more. Bring that across, pop it down, turn it over. Take the 2 outer edges, bring it across, tuck it under, make sure the 2 pieces at the top are down, and then with a finger, gently curl over. And in the instruction on the website, you can also cut thin strips out as well and just attach them on the top. Either way, you'll still get the rim of the hat, and you'll still get the effect that you're looking for. Obviously, they would then go onto a baking sheet, make sure they're spaced apart. The last thing you want to do is to form together. You could do this if you wanted to. It's a bit of a combined bake altogether, but you won't get the definition of the hat. So this is why I've done them actually singly on here. So you put them on a baking sheet. There's no need to put egg wash on there. There's no need to put water on there. Just leave them naturally as they are. They would then go into the oven. Obviously, that would be 10 to 12 minutes on 200 degrees. No higher, no less. And what you would end up with when they come out is that shape. As you can see, you've got the defined rim across the top. And what I've gone and decorated with there, you can use licorice. You get that nice soft black licorice, just roll that out. And all you're looking for is use the end of a large piping nozzle. Just cut those pieces out so you get two even shapes. Roll them up and then just gently push your finger and you'll get that more of an oval shape from them. Again with the mouth, you can either roll up into a torpedo shape, just sort of tapering off at either end, or you could the end of a cutter. Now I've got one I used, just a simple cutter, just cut out a circle and then just take an edge of that circle away, that'll form the mouth. To attach them onto obviously Fred's face, is just use a bit of water, dab it on, and then there you go. And that's your Fred. And obviously inside, you pop Fred open, as I said earlier, got the nice chocolate filling in mine, and they're lovely, absolutely gorgeous. They're simple to do, the kids can do and they can have a little bit of fun with them. Like I said, use some fondant, use some licorice, have a go at piping it with the chocolate if you want, but it can be a little bit messy. Like I said, use any filling you want to, it's your choice, or leave them without, either way. Okay, that's the bread Fred. Have you got any more questions that have come through?
We have. Christine would like to confirm that it wasn't Mary Berry in the Fred suit.
Wasn't Mary Berry in the Fred suit? No, it wasn't Mary Berry in the Fred suit, no.
Tracy would like to ask, if you were to name a bread after yourself, what would it be called?
Bread after myself. Ooh, the Governor's Pride, I think I would call it.
Robert would like to ask, do you always use steam when breaking bread? And have you seen all the breads on #TwitterBakealong at the moment?
I do use steam for the majority of the time. These rolls I didn't use steam. They're quite a sweet dough. I didn't want that nice crust on the top. I didn't want them to go as dark, so I'm trying to obviously represent the whiteness of Fred's face. If I'm doing an artisan type loaf, I'm doing a sourdough, I'm doing a French stick or ball, then I like that crust on top. It's nice. If you're going to score the bread, you want the score to actually define itself against the flour. So again, I would use steam on that time. I would say 90% steam, 10% not.
And finally, Jake would like to confirm if you were any relation to Mick.
Any relation to Mick? I'd have my own bakeries all around the world if I was a relation to Mick. I'd be absolutely rolling in money. No, I'm no relation at all. No, it's just a coincidence.
Right,
that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for watching in. Don't forget the competition. I love to see those bakes. I love to see your creativity. So don't forget, #FredBread. Upload those pictures. I'll do some judging and hopefully you will win those prizes. Thank you.